So you think, so going into it, what do you think your number one job as a dad? It seems like you took a stance, which a lot of men do, is like deny myself. Mm-hmm. Now my identity is rooted in my wife and my children. And, you know, it sounds great. Like it sounds like what we're supposed to do. But more times than not, it doesn't work out.
It's so opposite from that.
Yeah, because I mean...
It is.
Someone's got to lead. Someone has to. You go. I always use the example of, like when you're flying somewhere and they say, "Hey, if there's a sudden drop in oxygen or pressure or whatever, the masks come down. Put yours on before you put your neighbors on."
And it comes to a point like, I wasn't even taking care of my health. You know, I was overeating, and I've always been one that's worked out. I've always loved to look physically attractive. And
do you think you got comfortable?
I did. You get
that's a huge...
you turn into a recliner.
Yeah, because I forget who I was talking to, but you know, I've always liked to work out too, and I would think it's not going to change when you get married, you know, but it does, because you know, men and women have different dating strategies, right? And you kind of abandon those, but when you're single and looking to attract a mate, you find out you're staying in shape to be healthy. You know, I played football, so it was to stay strong for that, but a lot of it too is to be attractive to...
Do you find yourself, like, some days falling into that? Because obviously you work out. I mean, all joking aside, we both obviously work out.
That's the worst when someone's like, "Matt, are you still working out?" I'm like,
really?
Why do you at? Dang it. Like, that's a good fuel, but no, go ahead.
But do you ever find yourself like I just want to relax and not...
Yeah, heck yeah. But it's something like, I enjoy going to the gym too. So it's not a big strain.
Does Allison go to the gym?
No.
She doesn't.
No,
but she's so tiny. I don't think I've ever actually met her.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Well, I keep her locked in the house. For her safety. For
her safety.
Stay home, save lives. No, she doesn't, and you know, that's something I want to. That's a hard habit to pick up later in life.
Yeah.
You know, like we grew up playing sports, so being active. So the gym was just part of it. I actually probably enjoyed working out and the preparation side of football more than football itself. You know,
right.
I was a punter, so I played 5-6 plays a game. You know, so I carried that, and then when you're single and kind of you're on your own purpose and stuff, that's when you're the most. That's usually when you meet your future spouse, right?
Yeah.
And the trick is, like, how do I keep that mindset? Obviously, you're not, you know, spinning plates or meeting different women. You know, you kind of abandon that. But how do you keep that mindset? That's the tough part. I mean, because a lot of men lose that, and you'll hear women say, you know, I love them, but I'm not in love with them anymore. And I think it's because a lot of times, as men, we'll get comfortable.
So you think women look at that attraction of men like, oh my God, well, I got all those people after him, all those women after him, and I'm going to snag them.
Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, don't think of it outside of male and female dynamics. Just think of when you go to a website for a brand, they have testimonials on there, right? That's the reason why these brands want celebrities wearing their stuff. It's social proof, right? It's in demand. It's the same way with men and women. Now, it's different. Men don't look at that as much. Like, you don't want to, oh, that's a girl, she slept with 1 million guys. That's so attractive. She's so desirable. No, it actually works against it. But that's why, you know, you'll see. I've known good, like, quote unquote good girls that are, you know, maybe conservative, traditional, upright, or whatever.
Yeah.
That'll end up with a guy that might have a really high notch count, right? And it's like, how does that work?
Is that opposites attract?
Perhaps, but then you could say, well, then virgin dudes would be going after ladies of the street. You know what I mean? There's different dynamics, but it's not as big of a hindrance, you know, assuming everything is you're not putting her health at risk, but it's really being desirable. And we were talking about this, and then we're going off on a tangent, but throughout history, we are obviously a monogamous society now, but it wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
So there was all these stories of really what you would call high value men, the Alexander the Greats, the Genghis Khans, these guys that would have harems of women that were okay sharing them.
I was content until things got a little, I don't know. We just there's a certain time where it's just like the atom split, and it was just kind of like I felt like, even though I was in denial. You go through a denial stage when you're in marriage, like.
Or you think, oh, marriage is it's hard. It's supposed to be hard.
Everybody tells me marriage is the hardest thing ever, and you have to sacrifice, and you have to do this, and you have to be this way, and you fit yourself in the cookie molds of whatever they want. And the problem with that is that it's not fun.
And you lose what made you attractive in the first place.
Right. You're not like, I've always been the funny guy. I've always been very charming and a goofball and wear stupid stuff and dance in the middle of the grocery store just to have a good time, and that's just my personality.
So you do a lot of drugs, is what you're saying?
Personally, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
But
you pick that back up. Congrats.
Thanks. I'm back to normal.
Yeah, that's right.
But you kind of lose that a little bit, or I did. I can't speak for everyone. Yeah, I can, because we all do it. We all try to fit the mold and do what you're supposed to do, what society says you're supposed to do. Marriage is hard. You have to sacrifice, but it shouldn't be that way.
Right. And
if I could tell people, stay true to yourself. I think you've 100%. Done a good job about that.
Try to, but
you've been married, what, 5?
This would be 6 this year.
6 years.
So, okay. In July. 7/11.
So, yeah, but you've
goes
done
by quick.
You've done a pretty good job of kind of keeping true to who you are.
Yeah, you do, but there is, that's why vetting your future spouse is so crazy important. Because, marrying the right person it makes your life amazing. Marrying the wrong one, it's a living hell. You know?
And there's parts of me that are, I said before, it was always the Billy and Fran show. Mm-hmm. And sometimes there's still the Billy and Fran show, especially when it comes to the kids.
Yeah.
And we can kind of pick up and joke around with one another. Not so much now. She's dating. She's got her life, and I'm very happy for her. She's got a boyfriend and stuff like that. And I wish her all the best. But sometimes when we're...
But you don't actually. But go ahead.
No, actually,
no,
I did. Yeah, but as far as the, camaraderie of us together hanging out and joking, it's still there. Yeah. And we still do it.
Do you think men and women...
A little bit more awkward.
Do you think men and women can be friends?
No.
I don't either.
I think there's a certain aspect to a man and a woman hanging out together. I know people will probably say you're full of, shit.
So to all the women that are saying, no, you certainly can. You can be friends with a lot of guys. I want you to pick your phone up right now and text them, hey, I'm in the mood, come over, and see what their responses are going to be. I
guarantee you they'll run over.
Not one of them is going to say, hey, we're just friends. Yeah. So it's how
that's a male's perspective of that. Women might have a different
They can
view.
have whatever they want, but just send that out.
Yeah.
You'll see what's actually...
Right, because I think if a guy sent that out to girls, I don't know.
Yeah, they could send that out anytime, any day. And they're like, cool.
Neat.
Yeah. Okay, so got off a little bit on a tangent. So would you say it's safe to say you lost kind of what made Billy?
100%. 100%.
And it's not a light switch. It's kind of a gradual.
It's a gradual. It's you know.
Because you mentioned and you mentioned all these bad mistakes I made, and then I heard you ramble them off, and I'm like, what mistake was that? You know, starting your own business, starting your own pressure, doing your magic, like.
But and what I meant by that is I actually, in those situations, I put myself first. And I know we're supposed to do that, and that didn't sit well. Probably as well as I was hoping it would. And I felt like that was actually one of the causes for that. You know, it's because I wanted to do this, and I didn't care what you thought. I don't care what you think.
And I would argue that's probably one of the first times you had the proper mindset, you know, that you were putting the mask on yourself, because the reality is, the more successful Billy is, because you're sharing your resources with your family, it's not like you've got a Swiss bank account where all your magic show money is going into.
Yeah,
it's going to.
It goes right.
It
was going 100% to the family, whatever they needed to do. The store put a big strain on the family financially.
Yeah.
Emotionally, because I was never really around. Even though I tried to have the kids, like my daughters were. Brittany would run the register. Savannah would help with the clothing, hanging up clothing. Fran her biggest thing was she loved to pick out the new summer lines of clothing that would come into the store. Colin was there.
Colin.
But he was also 4 at the time.
Yeah.
So it's not really, it was almost like a suitcase. He just kind of lugged him around.
If you could go back, what would you do differently?
If I could go back, one, I'd spend less money. And that's a topic for another day about business and stuff, because I think I put all my assets into the store and I had to have everything in my head. It had to be in the store instead of gradually building. You know, I wanted to hit the finish line without running. So I did all that stuff. And if I could change anything, it would be that. Would
you change your mindset though, knowing what you know now? What would you say? Hey, like, stay on your purpose, stay on, like, because businesses start and fail.
No, you know me. I'm going to hustle. I've always hustled. I will always find something to do. If I get stale with something, I'll create something new. I'll try something new, because I think you should exhaust every resource in life that you have and try to be the best person you can be. And if that means leaving nothing on the table when you're dead, that's what it means. If I want to try something, damn, I'm just going to go out and try it. It's funny because one time when I was married, I woke up on a Sunday.
You woke up on a Sunday?
I woke up on a Sunday.
What?
Usually I sleep all Sundays. No, I don't. But I woke up. It was a Sunday, and I looked at it and said, I think I'm going to learn how to breathe fire today.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And then my wife goes, just don't burn your face off.
That's right.
So, but you know, it's those things that I'm going to try.
Did you learn how to do it?
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't as bad as I thought. It's actually kind of cool.
Huh. I never knew that about you.
Yeah.
Was that one of those, like, it's the funnest thing I never want to do again?
No, because I did it a couple more times. I went and I did it in front of a big insurance banquet.
Yeah.
They wanted somebody to breathe fire, and I was like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting on stage, and this big ball of flames coming out of my face.
Huh.
Cool. It's cool.
That is pretty crazy.
But it's going back to the business and stuff like that. No, I don't. I think I would have opened something.
Yeah.
I mean, that part wouldn't have changed.
Yeah.
Because it's not my nature.
Right.
So.
Got you. So fast forward to where you are now. Did you see the writing on the wall for a little while and stuck it out, or was it
I did.
I'm sure both sides did.
Because she was the one that came to me and said, "This isn't working." she's like, and at the time I was out denied or was in denial about it, but looking back, because she would say, you have to know this isn't right. We're both miserable. And she was right. Fran is right a lot. She's very smart.
If you don't believe, just ask her.
Just ask. But this was one of those, she was 100%, because do I love her? Yes. I want her, all the happiness in the world for her, but I don't know.
Am I in love with her?
Yeah, people ask, my mom asked, you think you'll ever get back with her? You think you guys, I don't think so.